guys, I tried to film something before I left on vacation and I just kept beating around the bush. So I'm gonna try to do this again. I'm not gonna sit through editing myself because I talked about like 10 different things. So I kind of want to start over again with the main points that I wanted to make and some questions that I wanted to ask. The media can make it look like anything is happening, right? We know this. The fact of the matter is, the cops already have the evidence. They have evidence that there was sexual abuse with minors. That's all I need to hear. That plus everything we already know about him. What I want to say here is it's turning into a freaking circus. Me talking about this, me trying to bring attention to something that wasn't being brought attention to last year is a little different than hundreds of people coming out talking about these allegations that just dropped, trying to catch every little detail. And it honestly made me think, like, as I've been doing this, I've also been kind of conflicted about it, thinking, God, we're so entitled. We need to know everything that happened, and we need to know how the person's gonna pay, and we need to know all of these things, when really they are very personal matters. And in a perfect world, they would be kept police matters. But we know the deal. He is the prime example of a predator. So I figured I would start with him. I found his shit by accident. Figured to start with him. But I'm coming for everyone. I have research on a few different predators that have this certain link in common with Manson, and this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit. Manson has been collecting Nazi memorabilia forever. People have seen the swastikas on his wall. He's not shy to talk about it. This is my thing, okay? Not everyone who collects Nazi memorabilia probably is a bad person. Probably some of them are historic people that want to kind of chronicleize the world, and I understand that, but it's not good optics, man. So I wanted to talk about this racism being a common thread amongst the predators that we're actually looking at right now. I think that's important because there's some predators that are not being looked at all, some that are even being rewarded. They're going to take down the easiest people to take down first. Isn't that kind of obvious with this whole new politically correct world that we're living in, that they would take the most problematic figures? And wouldn't Manson be the top one? He's basically the example of that big scary white supremacist that no one wants to deal with right now. He's fucking King Critter, I'm just gonna call him King Critter from now on. I mean, for whatever reason, he was enabled for decades, and I feel this Manson crew is being paid to do all kinds of stuff. Harass, smear everyone that's come forward, as well as just twist and bend the truth as best they can. And I think they've got little troll foot soldiers, because I can't believe in my heart that this many people look at what he did objectively. At least once you've learned all the facts that we have enough facts, you guys don't get it, that are telling me, where's the proof, where's the proof, where's the proof? And what we have is enough. Here's a letter, by the way, saying that he did involve minors. And with that, I'm gonna stop talking about Manson, and I wanna move on to a couple people that I was talking about that share this common link. Anyone who is guilty of sexual battery, crimes against a woman or child, I think should just be left in there to rot. I'm sorry, but you made your bed. You made your bed, you get fucking nails, right? For the rest of your life, that's what you deserve. That is just my opinion. That was a perfect segue into Dahvie Vanity, which is the next predator that I want to talk about. What it seemed like last year was all of his victims were coming forward. I mean, this was like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I was there for it because this was like in the beginning of quarantine. And a lot of people had started new YouTube channels. I was subscribing to new channels, and I came across this case of this guy, Dahvie Vanity, who started out as this MySpace celebrity hair god. And I also remember these times, the early 2000s. I don't know, like the Blood on the Dance Floor stuff, that band, it does have a very niche subculture. The album art and the lyrics even attract younger kids. I mean, young kids. We're talking middle school age. So it was something that I was too old for at the time, because that kind of time frame, I was in my 20s. I think the experience of youth is kind of always the same. When I was an awkward 13-year-old girl in 8th grade, I could have fallen into the same sort of trap that these fans fell into. I hate this guy, okay? I followed the story all through 2020, and what I'm pissed about is that I feel maybe certain stories were exploited by some people. I feel like all the stories were definitely made money off of and exploited by people like even Chris Hansen. And I think a lot of those stories were sold to Discovery. The same thing happened with the Onision case. Chris Hansen attempted to take it over and made a mess of everything. And a lot of the survivor stories got lost in the mix, and their stories are heartbreaking. And the disturbing part about Dahvie Vanity is he would do, I mean, and this is the worst kind of predator, a child predator. His first sexual assault was on a 10-year-old girl, and they didn't end up pressing charges because they were being harassed, they were being threatened through music, through the whole crew. Gosh, if you go through the whole story, it's really crazy to think how this could happen. I remember what it was like being that awkward age and looking at like the alternative scene, because it was so big and exciting, but a little bit scary, but that's what kind of made it exciting. And, you know, back in my day, and this kind of is true for the early 2000s, we didn't all have iPhones like that we could ask Google a stupid question, an embarrassing question, right? Well, in my day, you couldn't at all. Like, so that's why we didn't talk about a lot of stuff, because kids are embarrassed. But it wasn't like kids nowadays that you guys have information at your fingertips. But I feel like this Dahvie Vanity thing was in that era right before everyone got their cell phones. You know what I'm saying? Think about it, MySpace. So home computers were a thing. Like everyone had a home computer, not necessarily a smartphone, but we could check the internet from our phones, even though they weren't necessarily smartphones. But it wasn't as accessible as it is now. So this kind of culture, this blood on the dance floor thing that happened, and I will leave a link in the description below, because it's very comprehensive and there's a lot about it. I just wanted to talk about him because he does share that racism link. You know, he did get removed from Spotify for hate content in his music, as you can read here. And numerous other things just that were acceptable in that kind of subculture that aren't. And, you know, the kind of damage that that can do to a young person, you know, who often cares more about fitting in, it was super harmful. And I saw the reach of it because for an entire year, I was watching these young girls come out, and some of them were just a little younger than me. And there was so many, and I got so pissed because it felt like this guy would do this systematically. You know, he knew that he toured every few months or so, and it felt like he always had girls lined up in each city that he was touring in so that he could either stay with them or he had them hiding at a hotel, you know, from his girlfriend. I mean, he had all kinds of crazy shit going on. He had like 3 girls hiding at one time. He would make music videos, put these young girls in compromising positions. Just a horrible person. So the last I read on him was that the FBI had gotten involved, but I haven't heard anything since that. And he is still active on social media, as you can see, dark arts. Awful. Another person I wanted to talk about that shares that link comes from a friend of mine, because I am not familiar with this world. Australian musician Zayani Sparks alleges that she was sexually assaulted by Die Antwoord rapper Watkin Tudor Jones Paul Harris. Watkin Tudor Jones Paul Harris. Her allegations have prompted another musician in Italy to accuse Jones of indecent assault at a concert in 2014. Of course, he denies the allegations by both women. Zayani Sparks, I hope I'm saying that right. I'll link a little bit of her content here and what she has to say about that. Since I'm in America, this is something that wouldn't have been brought to my attention. I don't listen to this kind of music, so that's something that's really cool about communicating with people all around the world, right? He fits the profile as well. He has multiple allegations against him, and he is a German rapper that is associated with racism. I just kind of wanted to bring attention to that. It's just something that I noticed, and we have to kind of look left when everyone else is looking right. But I do want to just address my thoughts on that. What do you guys think of that? Someone had once commented, it's a witch hunt, and I said, you know, even if it is, he's guilty. So, like, even if it is a witch hunt, you realize both things can be true. Like, they could just want to find something on him, and they have something on him because he's guilty. Both things can be true at the same time. Yeah, what else did I talk about in my last video that was a nightmare? I was like ranting all kinds of shit because why are some predators being protected? They're making money. They haven't lost their usefulness. This is the next thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of people are wondering what do they do now? And I can tell you, for me, what it means to separate the art from the artist. I think people say it a lot to be lazy, and it's a cop-out, but it just kind of clicked in my head what it means to me. So I did go through kind of a personal situation where one of the guys that I listened to was accused of certain allegations last year. Let me just tell you, one of like the best experiences in my life was going to see concerts with my sister. And we went to these concerts together. We discovered this guy together, and it was a very special time for us. After the allegations came out, and they're not like the ones that we see today, but they are allegations. His music doesn't sound any different to me. If you already have the records, I think that's fine. I think if you don't support what this artist is doing, you probably shouldn't be giving them your money or supporting the people that enabled them to do all this damage. But at the same time, once you've experienced, you know, a certain amount of life and this becomes the soundtrack of it, it becomes built into your life, and it really means something to you, you know, and the people you care about, and it brings you back to these certain times. So I don't think you should punish yourself and not let yourself listen to music that makes you think of something nice in your life. And when we're talking about the content of like Blood on the Dance Floor, I don't know why anyone would want to go back and listen to those, but like I said, if it means something to you, if it's nostalgic to you, I'm sure a lot of you guys are still listening to Manson. In my opinion, that's fine. You already have this built into your life, your memories. It becomes yours at a certain point. Art is only like birthed out of one person, and then once it gets spread into the world, it belongs to us at that point. It belongs to us as we interpret it in our different ways. And that's why I think that it's not this black and white thing where like, oh, we all have to stop listening to this. I think it's all about how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel good, you listen to it. Nobody should be telling you what to do. What I was trying to do in my last video was go into all those predators, and I wanted to talk about my more personal situation. I might just make that into a whole another thing. So, I mean, that'll come next. He had a lot of success, and the whole case I found very scant, and it was odd. A lot of people got taken down at the same time, and I have a lot of questions about it. So I did want to talk about that, but I think I'll just make another video of that. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for watching. I'm having trouble. I've always been the type of person that is kind of looking into things that could happen, things that are likely to happen, things that need addressing that haven't been addressed. I think what I'm getting at also is how scared are we that we think the media is just in control of this situation? Do we have no faith in the justice system anymore? Is this why we're getting so involved with these cases? Or is it because of genuine concern or attachment to these figures? I don't want to give him any more attention or power. At the same time, I also see the people that have been silenced by him. We can't just wait until everyone can agree. The whole world agrees Marilyn Manson's a predator, so therefore he gets put in jail. We know shit does not work like that. So I'm over his little games. He had a chance to come clean, he didn't, and now he's just playing games. What's the point? Let me just ask you guys, what do you want to get out of it? Do we think that the more we dig, maybe we'll possibly understand? Because you can dig so deep into the thing that you just disappear inside of the thing. But good morning, and I wanted to properly end my video because I don't know why I froze up last night. Manson, we're just waiting for the court case, dudes. I think it's important to stay a part of the culture that you helped create and then try to correct it somehow. With him, personally, he's just one of my bugaboos. This is my little bone that you hit, and I'm just like, ah, Manson, I fucking hate that guy. But really, I need to stop talking about it and giving him power, because honestly, he has none. I mean, what I learned through last year and this year is the media has as much power as we give it, and I don't really give it that power, so it's not something that I really need to concern myself with when it comes to learning every little detail of these things. Yes, these survivors chose to tell their stories, but I'm sure, yeah, Bukowski has ties to the FBI, Vivian. Sorry, I just saw the pop-up and I get distracted. But my main point is, I think the topic needs to just kind of be retired until there's anything else groundbreaking, like a court case or some new developments. Because the fact of the matter is, he's going to face punishment no matter how many of us believe he's guilty. But it is super important in the beginning to believe survivors. It is super important to believe survivors when they come out. For some reason, in 2018, this didn't happen. For some reason, there wasn't enough proof. And I probably shouldn't talk about it as an outsider, just trying to put these pieces together. At least until I have like a more concrete thing to say about it. Right now, all that I wanted to say about it was that I do see this link that is helping our culture push these predators out. Do we just decide to prosecute the predators that are inconvenient for that specific time? No. We gotta look at the other guys. We gotta look at the guys that aren't really making waves. We gotta look at these fuckers, no matter how much money they're making, no matter how useful they are. Dude, there's so many. And my next video, I'm gonna be coming at you with so many names. The next one will be kind of the other side of the coin. This whole case to me is, you know, that I think it's just kind of in your face, blatant, what you would expect from someone that exhibits those behaviors, right? So in my next video, I want to talk about the other side of the coin. I want to talk about this more personal story and how I processed it, and I still have questions about what had happened and how I still actually struggle with it. Things aren't always what they seem. Just because Manson looks like the Joker doesn't mean that I should naturally assume that he's a sadist, even though he is. Just on the other side of that coin, just because someone looks like a fucking beach boy and acts like a dreamboat doesn't mean that I should assume that they aren't a predator either. So actually, it's almost done, so it should be ready for you guys soon. All the isms, that's all the cancel culture stuff. It's upsetting that the rape allegations don't have the same kind of stigma. My theory is that everyone who is going to be found guilty of sex crimes has a link. Almost everyone. And that link is racism or homophobia or some kind of ism that is not friendly to our world today in the year of our Lord 2021. My next video will make a lot more sense and will be a lot more organized. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.